Okay, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Sean Callan.
Here.
Julie Chetney.
Here.
Tom Chiappa.
Here.
David Christofoli.
Here.
Jim McKenzie's here. Kristen Norfleet.
Here.
And Sean Onmont.
Here.
Okay, we stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Well, for the first time on my time on the board, it's an honor to say that we have some of our student performers here to entertain us. So we have the Oswego High School Chamber Singers. Thank you.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Robert. Do I need to use this now? Okay. My name is Robert Dumas. I'm the choir director here at the high school. I'm also the K-12 department team leader for the district. And I want to thank Dr. Kilmer for having us here and all of you. March is Music in Our Schools Month, recognized around the country. It's Music in Our Schools Month started here in New York State in the 80s, and now it's something that has spread to all 50 states. So we're really happy to share with you guys a couple of things that we've been working on. While the group of students you see behind me here are incredibly talented and very advanced, I would be remiss, I feel like, if I didn't mention that this is the tip of the iceberg, right? And it's the work that started in kindergarten, general music, and the work that started in third grade chorus, in fourth and fifth grade, band and orchestra, that's gone all the way up through. We don't just get to where we are that you're about to hear without all of that. So a huge shout out and thank you to the amazing music teachers that we have at those levels. They do an incredible job. Here at the high school, just as a point of information, we have 3 choirs, 3 bands, 2 orchestras, 2 jazz bands, a marching band, color guard, winter guard, and we do an annual musical. Those are all things that are either strictly curricular or sort of considered co-curricular. And then beyond that, I'll ask them to raise their hands. We have students that participate in all-county band, orchestra, and chorus. Raise your hand if you did one of those things this year. Area All-State was held back in the fall, if you were in Area All-State, band, orchestra, or chorus. And how about Conference All-State? Miles Bandla and Ben Norton. Conference All-State students are selected from students all across the state of New York, from Montauk to Buffalo and Plattsburgh and every point in between. Very proud of all of their accomplishments. And also, who's working on a NISMA solo right now? So the NISMA Solo Festival season, it's usually in March, April, May. And it's actually those solos that get them into the groups that I just mentioned for the following year. Before we begin our actual performance part of it, once I put the mic down, we're going to do a little demonstration for you because it's nice to go to concerts and see the finished product, but I think it's kind of interesting, especially with it being Music in Our Schools Month, to see just a little bit of what we do on a day-to-day basis. So one of the main tools that not only we use here at the high school, but throughout the district, and it's been a cornerstone of the department for a long time, since the early 90s, when John Armstrong was the choir director in Oswego, is something called solfege. If you've ever seen The Sound of Music, do, re, mi, fa, so, right? It's actually invented, sort of created in the 1400s by a man named Guido d'Arezzo. And he figured out a way to sort of help people understand how pitches relate to each other. And not only is it an oral tool that we use, but it's also visual, spatial, and kinesthetic. And the work that we do is definitely advanced, okay? You'll notice that we don't have a piano. I'm not using a pitch pipe, and none of us have perfect pitch. So what we have built over the course of the year is something called pitch memory. So the demonstration I'm going to do for you, we're going to start on C-Do using the pitch C as our starting pitch. We'll sing a little scale or something, and then we're going to modulate, meaning we're going to move pitch centers to the key of A minor. Okay, and then our first song is in A minor. Okay, and if that means nothing to you, that's totally fine. I just sort of offer it as an explanation for what you're about to hear. And this is truthfully how we really start class every single day. A little bit about the 2 pieces that we're going to perform, because we'll go right from the demonstration into the first piece. We had a concert back on February 29th, and I knew that I wanted to include one of the pieces from that concert, an Irish children's song called I'll Tell My Ma, which coincidentally has sort of popped up on TikTok in the last couple of weeks as one of the audio samples that people are now doing TikToks to. We were here first. So I wanted to find something to pair with that. So that was an Irish children's song. And what I selected is something that's not only contrasting in terms of tempo and style, but the Irish children's song is a modern adaptation. And so the first piece that we're going to perform is called Weep, O Mine Eyes by John Bennett. It was written in 1599. So I'm really trying to show you a big, broad spectrum of music. We're going to start with some solfege from the 1400s, go into 1599, and then end with an Irish folk arrangement written in 2012 or something. So I hope you enjoy Weep O Mine Eyes, and I'll tell my ma. And again, thank you for having us.
Tell my mom when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. They pull my hair and they steal my comb, and that's alright till I get home. I'll tell my mom when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. They pull my hair and they steal my comb, and that's alright till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of Belfast City. She is courting 1, 2, 3, please don't tell me who is she.
Albert Mooney says he loves her, all the boys are fighting for her. Knock at the door and ring the bell, hey my true love, are you well? Albert Mooney says he loves her, all the boys are fighting for her. Knock at the door, ring the bell, hey my true love, are you well?
Tell my mom when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. They pull my hair and they steal my comb, and that's alright till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is the belle of Belfast City. She is working 1, 2, 3, please don't tell me who is she. Then out she comes as white as snow, rings on her fingers and bells on her toes. Her Jenny Marie says she'll die if she don't get the fella with the roving eye. Then out she comes as white as snow, rings on her fingers and bells on her toes.
Oh, she's as sweet as my marzipan pie, and she'll soon get a new fellow by and by. The wind and the rain and the hail blow high, and the snow gonna tumble in down from the sky. Oh, she's as sweet as my marzipan pie, and she'll soon get a new fellow by and by.
When she gets a letter wrote, she won't tell her mom when she gets home. And let them all come as they will. It's Albert Mooney she loves still. I'll tell my mom when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. They pull my hair and they steal my comb, but that's alright.
She is handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of the Pie City. She is Carter, 1, 2, 3. Please will you tell me who is she? She is handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of the Pie City. She is Carter, 1, 2, 3. Please will you tell me who is she?
Again, thank you all so much. You have a wonderful rest of your meeting, and thank you again for inviting us.
Great.
Thanks for coming. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
That was wonderful. Much appreciated. When I had a Reuben left over from St. Patrick's Day. I felt like it was all St. Patrick's Day all over again.
Thanks again, Alex.
Okay, so next on our agenda is floor to the public. We do have one speaker. Read what I'm supposed to read here. Each speaker who signed up is permitted 3 minutes for their comments. Speakers may not yield. There's no other speaker signed up. All comments must be directed to the board president. The board will listen to comments and input, but will not necessarily debate or discuss items. Operational matters will be directed to school administration for handling. The board is not permitted to address personnel or individual student matters in open session. The board president has the authority to end a speaker's comments or close public comment as appropriate. Any additional written correspondence or letters may be directed to the board clerk for distribution to the board. The board expects proper decorum at all times, and all speakers should state their full name and address. So, Jill?
Oh, I just signed in because I thought I was supposed to sign in.
Never mind then. There are no speakers for the day. I got a little voice practice here. I'm sure they were warming up. It's okay. It's good to see you, Jill. All right. So we're on to acknowledgments. Kristen.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to get to do the acknowledgments at this meeting. So we're going to start at Fitzhugh Park. Finding Nemo Kids. Under the direction of music teacher Aaron Raypre, our FPS students shined in the musical Finding Nemo Kids. A special thank you to our parents, families, staff, volunteers, and of course the wonderful HSA for all of their support. They're already planning for next year's musical. Moving to Minetto, Irish Outrun Autism. On March 9th, Minetto Elementary demonstrated unity and support by joining forces in the annual Oswego County Autism Task Force 5K race, known as the Irish Outrun Autism. Through the rain and wind, they raced through the streets of Oswego with smiles on their faces and love in their hearts, and very pleased to report that they won a Team Spirit Award, and there's some pictures there of them in their matching shirts. Moving to the high school, Mr. Gabriel Boldang. In world literature, the students were watching the documentary God Grew Tired of Us about the Lost Boys of Sudan. Mr. Gabriel Boldang, who was one of the Lost Boys, visited the high school on March 7th. He shared his story, along with what he was doing now in South Sudan, and how he helps students connect with other cultures, teaching our students about global citizenship. Staying at the high school, the Oswego County Academic Youth is very pleased at their victory, and congratulations to them on first place win on March 13th. There's a picture here of the members. We want to give a shout out to Jack Del Country. I can barely read this, so I apologize. Audrey Donovan, Leah Dykes, Olivia Kurlovich, Addie Lehman, Ian McKenzie, Maggie O'Leary, Michael Pastella, David Pearson, and Beatrice Rassley. Staying at the high school, countdown to graduation was on March 15th. The class of 2024 participated in the annual Countdown to Graduation festivities. Highlights from that day included the annual class photo, which you can see here, breakfast, encouraging words from Principal Dr. Hinman and class advisor Tammy Gills. The students also had the opportunity to enjoy a hypnotist show in the theater to round out the event. Graduation is just 102 days away. Moving to Oswego Middle School, the faculty scooter basketball is what they want to brag about in the past month. On Friday, March 15th, the OMS Student Council hosted a faculty student scooter basketball to support the St. Baldrick's Foundation. There was a great turnout from both faculty and students, and as an added bonus at halftime, Mary Beth Fierro, Brian LePray, and Mackenzie Verberg were rewarded with slime for raising the most money. At Charles E. Riley, Riley is a family. So much is happening that centers around this year's theme of Riley is a family. They held their monthly community gathering, and third graders took us through everyone's idea of this concept. It created a room full of pride and moist eyes. Next up is the fifth graders hosting the next community gathering, and that's going to be on March 27th. They also had a birthday celebration for Dr. Seuss. We love Dr. Seuss and certainly celebrated his birthday in style. Students and staff dressed alike in celebration of this famous author, read books, and enjoyed activities centered around his writing. At Kingsford Park, KPS students are preparing for their spring musical. The whole school will travel to the OHS Theater on 3/20 to enjoy the performance as a school, and the students will put on a public performance in the evening beginning at 7 p.m. Also be sure to mark your calendars for the KPS STEAM Night on March 27th from 5 to 7 p.m. And as a reminder, STEAM, of course, stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics. At Frederick Layton, they had a dunk tank. FLS students met their reading goal and were rewarded by dunking Principal Griffin in the dunk tank. They also wanted to brag about third, fourth, and fifth graders who went to SUNY Oswego for Tycho, and we had a visiting author for grades K through 6, Mr. Daniel Jude Miller. That's all of them, right? So congratulations to all the schools, and thank you so much for sharing what you've been up to. We enjoy hearing these celebration presentations every meeting.
Great. Thank you, Kristen. Next on the agenda is Board of Education. Item A is a resolution for Solar Eclipse Safety Day. So if I can have a motion for the resolution for Solar Eclipse Safety Day on April 8th, 2024 as presented, please.
I'll move it.
Thank you, Sean. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tom. Any discussion?
Just to give everyone an idea, we've been talking about this for quite a while. About a month and a half ago, I asked to institute a half day as we were watching to see what we expected to occur in the city of Oswego. Now that we're getting a little bit closer, my conversations with both fire chief, Oswego City Police Department, other emergency response individuals, we believe that there could potentially be significant influx of individuals within the city. And so I am concerned about safely getting both staff and students home. Again, we do live in central New York. It could be a cloudy day. We just don't know what to expect, but I do think it's prudent for us to go ahead and close so that our first responders do not have to worry about students. We will have SROs on duty that day. I talked to Chief Katie, and he agreed that we would have the SROs on duty. just ensuring that our campuses were safe, and then that would also provide additional staff for city police should he need to call upon them as well. So again, this would close school on April 8th for all students and staff.
Thank you, Dr. Kilmer. Any other discussion from board members? Okay. Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Wonderful, motion carries. Item B is the annual meeting for the budget notice. So if I can have a motion to approve the annual meeting and election notice for the May 21st, 2024 vote and elections as presented, please.
I'll move it.
Thank you, David.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kristen. Is there any discussion? Okay, having
And
heard,
again, just again, this is just annual. We have to do this every single year. There's a time frame in which we have to publish this in the paper. But again, it includes all propositions that we will ask of our voters in May.
great. Thank you again, Dr. Kilmer. Anything else? Okay, having heard nothing, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item C is our instructional calendar for next year. So if I could please have a motion to approve the instructional calendar for the 2024-25 school year as presented, please.
I'll move.
Thank you, Kristen. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, David. Any discussion here? Okay. Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Wonderful, motion carries. Item D, if I can get a motion to approve the election inspectors and assistant poll clerks as presented for the May 21st, 2024 annual budget vote and Board of Education elections, please.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sean. Is there any discussion? Okay, having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Motion carries. And one last item under here. We have looking for a motion to approve a contract to appoint the CSE chairperson as presented, please.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Julie. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Kristen. Is there any discussion? Okay, having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries. We are to superintendent's report. Dr. Kilmer.
I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Colucci to briefly review our instructional. As you know, over the last couple of meetings, we've talked about capital, we talked about administrative. This is going to be a relatively short presentation when we're looking at what we expect for instructional. And then at our next meeting, we'll kind of pull it all together and talk a little bit more. And then in our, I think it's April 16th meeting, we will ask the board to officially adopt the budget for the 24-25 school year. So we're just taking those small steps along the way. Mr. Colucci.
Thank you very much. Could everybody hear me okay? Okay, great. You've seen the other two parts. This is the third component, and it deals with why we're here for the most part. It deals with instruction and our impact on our students. So as with the other components, we were looking for something that's physically sound, fiscally sound, something that's flexible, something that's foolproof and allows us to make sure we don't paint ourselves in a corner, and something that flows, has enough cash flow, should state aid be withheld or held up in any way, shape, or form. If you look at the pieces within the program component, you can see that everything on this list has to do with teachers, instruction, and program. There are two things that really seem separate, but they're not. One is transportation piece, next to last, and that all has to do with what we need to do to get kids here for their program and get their kids home, along with getting them to other places for their program, if in fact they are learning in a different, at a different location. Next is benefits, and benefits are included because it's tied directly to compensation for our instructional staff and everybody here. If you were to break them down a little bit, it's really pretty simple. One of the things we wanted to make sure with regards to this budget is to take a look at maintaining our student programs and enhance them whenever possible. We're still exploring different ideas with that, but that being the case, one of the most important things was no reductions if possible. Luckily, based on our finances, the fact that unlike many of the other school districts in the area who are losing aid, we're in a good spot with regards to getting funds from the state, and we are able to maintain the programs that were funded with COVID aid. If you look at our COVID stimulus, there were a lot of positions up there, a total of 27 positions. And fortunately, we're able to bring those positions into our general fund without too much stress, and it will cost about $1,332,000. So we're in good shape there. To look at a really...
Just to highlight that real quick.
Sure.
Early on when COVID monies, these were federal monies that came to school districts, we knew this was going to sunset. That funding revenue was going to sunset. And some districts did end up creating positions, and those are legacy costs. We are fortunate that based on our work so far, that we are able to absorb those positions that were funded through these federal grants into our general fund. There are many districts that are not able to do that. So that is a significant shift when you look at that amount. 27 positions, $1.3 million shift from grant funding to our general fund. So we are fortunate in that regard.
Thank you. You know, and again, most of them are support positions that have to do with students that may be struggling. Teaching assistants were put in place to help kids. We put on five additional counselors. They're now in the general fund budget. 4 special education positions are put in there. So we're in pretty good shape with regards to making sure that we maintain our responsibility to kids. To put it in really very simple terms, if you were to look at our overall budget, our proposed budget for instruction is $50,282,000. The difference over this year, what was budgeted, is about $3.6 million, okay? Transportation. Our transportation budget is really pretty flat. We're in good shape. Our fleet is newer. We don't need to enhance it at all. Staffing is stable, so we're looking at a minor change. When you go to benefits, our proposed budget is $30 million. Our current budget is $26.6 million. The reason for those increases are statutory in some cases with regards to the employee retirement system and our teachers' retirement system. But we have had substantial claims with regards to our health insurance to the tune of, this year so far, we're spending $19 million, or we have spent $19 million in our health plan. We propose that we're probably going to spend the same amount next year, if not a little more. And we're working on ways to creatively keep people healthier, find the best ways for cost savings, and make sure that we can maintain that program as our self-funded health program as time continues. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Really very simple. It's staff and it is for kids, and that's why we're here. Any questions? Okay.
I had a question, actually, two. One was in the 27 positions, the number, the 1.3, that's inclusive of benefits, that's total cost of everything, okay? And then in the transportation, you indicated we were new, but we're still fulfilling our replacement schedule, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I just want to make sure.
And, you know, one of the things in the transportation that we're looking at is the The buses that we're trading in are holding their value to help us buy new buses. And the other thing is, we're not really getting hammered with maintenance costs, cutting out rotted stairwells and all those things that we used to do, because the buses are in good shape. That plan has been working, and we're benefiting from it right now. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board?
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Clucci. Is that all, Dr. Kilmer? Wonderful. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. And I'm going to group this together. So we am looking.
Hey, Jim.
Oh, my fault. Sorry. And I even have it starred there. Thank you, Sean. You know, I'm still going to start with Kristen because that's how I have it written down. So thank you, Sean. Yes. So we do have committee discussions. Again, I have it starred right here. All right. So visitation committee, Kristen.
Yes, the visitation committee, which is me, Jim, and Tom. We're at Oswego High School this morning along with Dr. Kilmer. And we were hosted by Dr. Hinman, who took the opportunity to show us some of the instructional rooms that are her personal favorites. She and I clearly have the same favorites because we like rooms that have less clutter and are very clean and very inviting and create a really home welcoming atmosphere. And so there's some teachers' rooms that we saw that have really great spaces that they're offering for students. We also looked at, I'm going to call them, this is my own phraseology, a lot of hands-on learning rooms. Think art rooms, think technology rooms, think home and career rooms. And this may be my own editorial comment, but I think that the consensus was there's room for improvement and that we can serve the students who are taking part in that programming that we offer better than what we're doing right now. Just to give people just a picture in their mind, for instance, the kitchen spaces are clearly original. They look older than my grandmother's house, and her house was built in the 1800s. So I think we can definitely make a more inviting environment for students who are choosing those types of opportunities. We also had the opportunity to talk to a couple technology teachers, both in woodshop and computer labs, talking about how they think their facilities could be improved to help them teach their students better. Again, I think there's a lot of room for improvement there, and we should be looking at that when we talk about things we'd like to do in the high school is focusing on the hands-on learning spaces. One of the really neat things that we saw was in the hallway, they're working on a mural project. Dr. Hinman, not a fan of white walls, and some students on her principal's cabinet proposed murals, and they're sort of a work in progress right now. They look fantastic. If someone has the opportunity to walk through the hallways in the high school and go see those, I would encourage it. She also talked about sort of her goal, I would say, of better branding the high school. Coming from a bit of a Buck Boosters background, I liked what I was hearing. She would love if all the glass doors when you enter the school had Bucks on it or said, "Welcome to Oswego." And she wants to put together a proposal to maybe team with some of our community partners like the Boosters to do a little bit more branding in the high school and bring out more spirit. Think what we've already done in the cafeteria and maybe have that be in other spaces in the high school as well. So all told, it was a really great visit. We enjoyed seeing the good things and the things we can improve in the high school.
Thank you very much. Facilities, Sean.
Yeah. The facilities committee made up of Dave, Sean, myself, Dr. Kilmer attends, and a pretty big group from King and King architecture team. We're in a pretty good cadence with our meetings now. Every 2 weeks we're getting together. The main purpose and focus right now is to establish what we'll be able to do for phase 4 of the capital project, the ongoing capital project. There's definitely heavy scope of work surrounding up and down Buck Boulevard at the high school and over at FLS. So we're working on that to see with what we have left and budgeted what we're able to do. While we're doing this, I think it's important to note that we're also envisioning the next capital project and the impact in space. I mean, when you look at the campus and the space that's available, we're forward thinking about, okay, what do we want to do next? We don't want to pigeonhole. We don't want to make moves with this, what we're going to do with the property in this next phase 4 that would, not allow us to do things in the next capital project to better serve, students at FLS or OHS. So we keep moving that forward. Also, something that we're working towards is hopefully we're gaining some confidence that by July 1st, the beginning of July, that we'll have some shovels and things in the ground up at Minetto School to redo their playground. So we're excited and happy about that. Hope to keep that on track. There's still some work to be done there so that we can do that, but to get that completed over the summer and ready for the kids this fall when they return to school. So that's pretty exciting, and I know that a lot of folks have been patient up at Minetto School, so we certainly appreciate that. That's all we have right now.
All right, thank you, Sean. Community Relations Committee, Sean.
The newly formed Community Relations Committee consists of myself, Sean, Tom, and Dr. Kilmer. We had our inaugural meeting a couple weeks ago, and we basically spent the time brainstorming ideas on how to connect the community with the district and the district with the community. Our next meeting is with Sarah McCroby from BOCES next week, and we'll continue that discussion and hopefully use some of the ideas actually that we learned last night from the strategic planning meeting, retreat, whatever it was.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, now I'm on to the consent agenda. Yes, so I am going to group items A through J together. So that is the A, projected fund balance, through J, updated list of impartial hearing officers. So if I can have a motion, please.
I'll move.
Thank you, Kristen. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tom. Is there any discussion on items A through J of the consent agenda? No, having heard none. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Flip to J. All right, personnel, Mr. Syracuse.
Good evening, everyone. On our personnel agenda, I'd like to pull out item A. We have a retirement with Catherine Celeste, who's a science teacher. She started on September 1st, 1992, and she's retiring at the end of this school year. So congratulations to her and her retirement forthcoming at the end of the year.
Great, thank
Item
you. Is there a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Kristen. Discussion? Just like to thank Mrs. Celeste for all of her service. That's 1992 is a while ago. Thank you very much. Okay, anybody else? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
The next group is, items B through L as presented.
Okay, so items B through L as presented. If I can have a motion, please.
I'll move it.
Thank you, David. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Julie. Any discussion? Okay, having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next is, where am I at? There we are. Oh, finance. Back to Mr. Colucci.
Thank you. Under Finance, number 11, we'd like to present A and B to the board for approval, noting that A is a generous donation from Charities Aid Foundation of America.
Wonderful, thank you. So can I have a motion for A and B as presented, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Julie. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tom. Any discussion?
No, just to say thank you again very much for those donations. We appreciate them. Thank you.
Excellent. Anybody else? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Wonderful, motion carries. We are to student representative, Michael.
Thank you. Not much to mention today. So At the high school, we've done a soft rollout of the Smart Pass system, which the administration has deemed successful. There's decreased hallway traffic, and the staff are using Chromebooks to check for passes. And the journalism class has produced a Q3 student-generated newsletter that will be mailed home with the report cards. So a fun way to get students involved and letting people know what's going on at the high school. That's all I got.
Thank you very much, Michael. Next is items from the board. Do any board members have any items? Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on our strategic planning last night. I thought there was a great evening. I really appreciate all the participation from the community and everybody from an administration board, everyone who was involved, and the food as well, Pete. I just want to say it was it was another opportunity for us to hear from the community, hear about their concerns, but also to hear about communication issues. We found about that, Corey, the facilitator, spoke about that. So I want to let the public know that it's on our radar and that we're constantly looking and evaluating that and trying to do the best that we can to communicate all the good things that are happening in the school and to keep you informed and keep you engaged as well. So as we move forward, we're going to try to keep that forefront. So thank you. Dr. Kilmer, it was a great night.
Yeah, just to follow up, thank you very much, Dr. Kilmer, for putting this all together. The last time we did this, Tom and I were the board representatives to the strategic planning. There were only 2 board members who participated. And if my recollection is correct, I think there were only 2, maybe 3 or 4 community members who were part of that. So the fact that I know we believe we had more than a dozen community members turn out yesterday is really wonderful, and thank you for making sure to include as many of our community members as possible in this process. Any other items from the board?
Thing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to congratulate the music department on their Music in the Schools month. I've had the opportunity to go to several concerts, and as usual, the music coming out of our schools is amazing. I really enjoyed the Festival Winds concert where they brought in their guest conductor who worked with all of the bands both in school and on a Saturday morning. And then they came Saturday night to all perform, which was also really, really awesome. And one of my favorite things about the Music in Our Schools Month concerts, which I've talked to the band directors at the high school about before, is when they team up with the middle school and they do an exercise where they demonstrate to middle school students about all of the things you can do and also be in band. They essentially have the wind ensemble stand up if you have a 3.0 GPA, stand up if you are on a varsity sport, stand up if you have a job, stand up if you have an extracurricular club you belong to. And I think it's a really great exercise to show the middle school students that you don't need to leave the music program because you can do the music program and do all the other things. In fact, I've had conversations with the band directors about maybe doing that same type of thing at the elementary level so students don't leave when they go to the middle school. Essentially the same thing, have the middle school students show you can do all the things and still be in band. Because the music program that we're offering at the school is second to none. So as many kids as we can get to stay in it and have them understand that you can do all the stuff and still be in music would be great.
Great. Thank you, Kristen. Any other items from board members? Okay. There is a need for executive session this evening for the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. And there will not be a need for a vote afterwards. So if I can have a motion for executive, please.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Julie.
I'll second
Is there a second?
I will, Kristen.
Thank you, Sean. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Great, motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening.